Subtracting integers. I can subtract integers and model on a number line. We're going to use the number line today to help us. So let's take a look. Draw your line down. When we model it, we start at the first number. The first number always faces the higher numbers. So for instance, the first number is 5, so I'm going to put a dot at 5. I just want you to watch this first one. I'm going to have you draw the next one in your notebook. Always face the higher number, so I'm going to draw an arrow facing this way. Now, if you see a subtraction or a negative sign, which they're the same thing, you turn around and you count the second number. So I see a subtraction, so I have to turn around, and then I have to count 2 spots, 1, 2. And we all know 5 minus 2 ends up at 3. So I want you to draw a number line in your notebook. Now you can stop the video at any time to catch up, but let's take a look here. I start at a -5. That's why I put my dot. I always face my higher numbers. Now I see a negative sign or a minus sign, so I have to turn around. I see another one. I have to turn back around. And now I go 2 spots. 1, 2. -5 minus a -2 ends up being at a -3. Interesting. Let's try another one. So we start at 5. I always start at the higher numbers. I see a negative sign, I turn around. I see another negative sign, so I have to turn back around, and I go 2 spots, 1, 2. 5 minus a -2 got me a bigger number of 7. Couple more. Try a -5. Facing the higher numbers, I turn around and I have to go 2 spots and I end up at a -7. So I want you to stop the video now and I want you to try this one right here. And start the video and you can check your answer. So I start at 8, facing my higher numbers. I need to turn around for the minus sign. I turn back around for the negative sign, and now I have to go 6 spots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I went off my number line. So 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 8 minus a -6 is 14. Let's try one more. Go ahead and stop the video now. Okay, I start at a -3. I'm facing the higher direction. I see a negative sign, and it's 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is a -10. So let's go over some rules that are just happening, and then we'll kind of go back and check. When we subtract integers, so let's get this in our notebook. It really means to add the opposite. Well, let's understand what that means. We are going to adding the opposite, we're going to use this word simplify. So when you had 2 negatives in a row, for instance, I'm going to go back and look at this one right here. Do you see how I have 2 negatives in a row? Well, if you notice, 5 plus 2 is 7. We're going to simplify. We're going to add the opposite. The opposite of a -2 is a +2. Add the opposite. We're going to call that simplifying. Anytime you see a negative and a negative in together, we are going to change those to a positive. You may also see them in parentheses like this. That is going to mean we're just going to make them both positives. So that's what it means to simplify or add the opposite. And then it's just your adding rules. If the signs are the same, we add and keep the sign. If the signs are different, we subtract and keep the sign of the bigger number. So I'm going to do the first one here, and then I'm going to stop the video. I want you to stop the video and try the others. So it's a negative or a minus. I see 2 of them in a row, so I'm going to turn them both to positives. And then I like to use the boxing strategy. I have a 10 plus a 6. Well, the signs are the same now, so I must add and get 16. Stop the video and try the next 4. Come back when you're done and see if you have the correct answers. All right, let's take a look. I'm just going to box because there's nothing to simplify. There's not two negatives in a row, and the number in the middle makes it not be in the row. So I have a -5 and a -7. The signs are the same. So I add them. 5 plus 7 is 12, and I keep that negative sign. Okay, so this one has a 3, and this one is a -6. The signs are now different, so I subtract. 6 minus 3 is 3, and I keep the sign of the bigger number, which is negative. Uh-oh, I see two negatives in a row, so I turn them to positives. So now I have a 4, and I always like to box all the signs, plus a +2, which is just a +2. 4 plus 2 is 6. One more. Again, I see the two negatives in a row. Yes, it's divided by a parenthesis, but that's okay. So I have adding. So I have a -7 and a +4. The signs are different. So I subtract. 7 minus 4 is 3, and the 7 has the bigger sign, so it's a -3. Go ahead and try your IXLs on this.